Kia. Shivarim. Teruah. Tekiah Gedolah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, my colleague, Rabbi Josh Noble. I'm Rabbi Yoshi Zweiback. On behalf of the Stephen Wise Temple community, we're very proud to be co-hosting this evening, along with our friends from the UCLA community and especially JFrg, the Jewish Faculty Resilience Group. We're grateful to you all for being here. At moments like this, I always find comfort and strength in turning to our tradition for guidance, support, and wisdom. And it never, ever seems to let us down. This week's Torah portion that we'll read this coming Saturday is Ki Tavo. And it begins with a connection that we have to the land of Israel. It begins, V'haya ki tavo el haaretz, asher Adonai Elohecha noten lecha. When you enter the land that your eternal God is giving you as a heritage, and you possess it and settle it, you shall take some of every first fruit of the soil, which you harvest from the land that God is giving you, put it in a basket, and go to the place where your God will choose to establish the divine name, which we find out later, of course, is Jerusalem. Ki tavo, when you enter the land, a land we've had a relationship with for more than 3,000 years. Ki tavo, when you enter the land, take the first fruits of your harvest, a harvest that came forth from that land of promise. Take some of those first fruits to the sanctuary and offer them up to God as a gift of gratitude. But then the Torah goes on to say something strange and unexpected and somewhat seemingly out of place. Before we offer these gifts, we're supposed to give a little speech. And the Torah even gives us the script of exactly what we're supposed to say. Here's what the Torah tells us. You shall then recite as follows before the eternal your God, Arami Oved Avi. My father was a fugitive Aramean. He went down to Egypt with meager numbers and sojourned there, but there he became a great and very populous nation. The Egyptians dealt harshly with us and oppressed us. They imposed heavy labor upon us. We cried to God, the God of our ancestors. And Adonai heard our plea and saw our plight, our misery, and our oppression. And Adonai freed us from Egypt by a mighty hand, by an outstretched arm, an awesome power, and by signs and portents, bringing us to this place and giving us this land, a land flowing with milk and honey. Wherefore I now bring the first fruits of the soil, which you, Adonai, have given me. It might sound a little familiar to you because we read it every year at the Passover Seder. Those exact words are in our Haggadah. We don't just bring the first fruits. That's not enough. We have to pause for a moment and tell our story. It reminds us of the importance of sharing what we have witnessed, of sharing what we've been through. And it also reminds us of the importance of expressing our gratitude for the blessings that we have experienced. Tonight, we are going to hear some very disturbing stories, and there will be a call to action because there's much work to be done. And this work will take time, and it will take commitment, and we will need friends and allies who are outside of this room so that we might improve the situation for current students, for staff, for faculty, for now and for generations to come. But at the same time, let us not forget to give thanks. And that's the lesson of those first fruits. So we give thanks for the blessings, the goodness, the bounty we enjoy. We give thanks for a community that stands together in good times and in challenging times as well. We give thanks for a tradition that teaches us how to hold on to hope, how to be strong, how to be resilient. And our parashah includes beautiful blessings that can give us hope at this moment. Our Torah promises us that if we stand together, if we do what is right, if we do the work that's required, why then, Baruch atah ba'ir u'baruch atah b'sadeh, you will be blessed in the city and blessed in the field. You shall be blessed with your basket, because it will always be full of fine fruit, and you will be blessed at your kneading bowl. And then it says, Baruch atah bevoecha u'baruch atah b'tzetecha. You shall be blessed in your comings, and you shall be blessed in your goings. May we be blessed with hope, with strength, and with the gift of a strong community that will always be there for one another.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Rabbi Yoshi, for that wonderful introduction and for really opening the setting for us to connect as a community. My name is Alyssa Zyman. I am the Faculty Student Liaison Representative for the Jewish Faculty Resilience Group, and I'm also a professor of pathology and laboratory medicine at UCLA.
And I'm Dr. Kira Stein, founder and chair of the Jewish Faculty Resilience Group, JFrg we call it, at UCLA, and assistant clinical professor of psychiatry at the UCLA School of Medicine. After the heartbreaking events of October 7th, and with the rise of antisemitism on campuses, we knew something had to change. And that's why in November of 2023, we started the Jewish Faculty Resilience Group to create a support network for Jewish faculty and staff at UCLA. At first, we just met to process our shock and our grief. But soon we realized we just couldn't sit back any longer. We're not going to take it anymore. We formed a board and committees to figure out how to confront the anti-Jewish hostility on campus head on. And within just a few weeks, our group grew to 75 passionate members, all committed to supporting each other. Now we have close to 300. We're all committed, We're all committed to supporting each other, upholding Jewish values, Zionism, American ideals, and standing by each other and our students.
A major turning point for us came during December 2023 during our Hanukkah board meeting. We realized that the existing systems to report anti-Semitism were just not strong enough. They weren't resilient enough for our group. They were vague, and community organizations were stretched too thin. That's when we developed an online reporting resource, Anti-Semitism Incident Report, or what we call AIR, to allow both faculty, staff, and students to share with us the incidents that came up on campus. It's not really a basic form. We hope to really get from people making these reports the incident, their emotions, the challenges that they faced. And with that, we've used some of our volunteers that are able to support them emotionally to really connect more with our community. This system offers a safe and supportive place for Jewish students, staff, faculty to really share their experiences, be able to contribute to the mission of fighting anti-Semitism and get help from our community.
This combination, careful documentation, alongside genuine emotional support, that's earned us the trust of the Jewish community at UCLA. We've shown that we're serious about protecting Jewish life on campus. One of our big steps was writing an open letter to the UCLA chancellor, urging the university to adopt the IRA definition of anti-Semitism and to take a stronger stand against anti-Semitism. The response was overwhelming. Over 1,500, actually closer to 2,000 signatures, many from people right here with us today. So thank you. From launching JFrog to creating AIR, rallying our community with the open letter, and then starting professionally to run free support groups for faculty and students struggling with the anti-Semitic campus climate, we knew we had started something powerful.
We really started to bring our community together, and it was the first time many of us met each other and created this opportunity for us to advocate for ourselves. Another key moment came in February when Dr. Nir Hoffman led the UCLA Jewish Faculty Solidarity Mission to Israel. This trip wasn't just symbolic. It solidified our commitment to Israel, our mission as Jewish members of our community, and to one another. In a later segment of today's events, you'll hear more about the results of our advocacy and documentation work and about the important projects we're tackling, including the JFrog film team, which is run entirely by dedicated USC, go Trojans, and UCLA, go Bruins, faculty and staff volunteers. It's a good reason for us to come together. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Nir Hoffman, who will share more about the UCLA Jewish Faculty Solidarity Mission to Israel. Nir.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Nir Hoffman. I'm a professor of anesthesiology at UCLA. I've been faculty for the last 22 years, and I actually have a long history here at Weiss, too. I was 50 years ago, I was at the daycare, and then 30 years ago, I taught karate here. And for the last 10 years, I've been a member of the synagogue, and my kids have come and gone through the school here. I've very nicely avoided coming up to the Bima for the entire 50 years I've been here until today. But these are crazy times. These are really extraordinary times. The fact that we need an organization like JFrog is really unbelievable in 2024. The fact that we need to have a mission to Israel is just overwhelmingly unbelievable. So let me walk you guys through the experience we had. This photo is of the Nevatim Air Base. We were actually hosted at the Nevatim Air Base because one of the members that came on the mission was a pilot 50 years ago in this squadron. And if you look at this picture, it's a very special picture because we're standing there and we're looking out, watching the F-35s take off on combat missions. And on the one hand, you see all this power, but then at the same time, we're kind of looking out into the horizon of the unknown. We're all kind of nervous and we don't know what's going to happen. And I think a year later, we're still in the same place. These were our sponsors, and you could see here, we met the president at the president's residence. It was very moving. The main goals of our mission were to show solidarity to the people of Israel and also to bear witness to what happened there. So we went to all the communities that were affected. We also wanted to identify the challenges that were facing Israel in the medical sphere. Many of us were physicians, but also in the educational spheres. And finally, to share with them what we were experiencing. We had no idea what was coming, unfortunately, and then to build strong communities. So we were 27 participants, faculty, staff, students, other professionals. Many different organizations joined us, many different institutions, and we really visited in the 4.5 days that we were there. We visited Kibbutz Be'eri, we were in Sderot, we visited the Rambam Hospital, we visited Hebrew University, Tel Aviv University, the Technion, and also the Sheba Medical Center. I'm going to be screening a short movie that Gary Jacobs produced.
No one's standing up against anti-Semitism, really, except mainly Jews are speaking out.
And so after 10/7, I was like, I need to put out a statement to all the students condemning this horrific terrorist attack. And a few days later, I got an email from an anonymous coalition of concerned classmates. And then they had a list of demands. The first one was, we demand that you retract your false statements that Hamas took hostages and went door-to-door killing families.
We came here to support and show solidarity and see how we can help, but it's also taking all our experiences back home, because you cannot imagine what kind of anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism we are experiencing on campus, and we are trying to fight this.
A delegation of nearly 30 members of UCLA's faculty and student body came on a life-changing trip to Israel following the massacre of October 7th and the subsequent war with Hamas.
We've come to show the truth. We do not have any specific political affiliation. We're very diverse.
In the kibbutz, before the 7th of October, we had 1,200 people living here. And 100 were killed, massacred, murdered, choose your own phrase. And we have approximately 10 people that are still in Gaza.
They used IEDs, grenades, RPG, everything that they had in order to conquer the home. What Shaked, Sharon's son, did, he took all the family to the second floor, and everybody that tried to climb the stairs, he shot them. Then for like 7 hours, they were under attack, and at the end, the terrorists were fed up and left.
How can we be most effective in LA? That's what we'd like to hear.
It's really important for me either to everyone to see Romy as a person, and it's hurting us, but we don't, if we won't hear their stories and their true nature, so they will stay just on a poster. So this is what drives me. Tell everyone about her story, because she's my little sister. She loves dancing, she loves her friends, she loves her family. Because she's so authentic, you fall in love with her immediately, because she has no guards. She's just who she is.
This is probably the most important night and the most important event that we're going to be at in our 4-day mission, because only if we're strong can we hopefully help your families. And so if there's one thing I can ask from you is to hear your story today.
I'm already squatted. Paul was married to a now. There were
They were young, happy couple with hopes and dreams, and a 2-year-old son named Almog.
His name is Abraham Holder, the young brother of my father. He lived 60 years in Kibbutz Leipol, 1.5 miles from the border. He raised a small family, a wife, Ruthie, and a daughter and a son. And his daughter had their only grandson.
When the war started, we put the picture and then we found more and more Egyptian people and murder people.
This is the one that is my family. We had a Shiva shooting, more than 1,200 casualties, civilians and soldiers. I uncovered that when the party both same amputation on the same legs. They are still here. The trauma is much bigger than anything else we've been faced.
וגם בקיבוצים עצמם, בבארי, ברעים, במפלסים, בכל
He said that
האזור.
he was for 2 weeks on the upper side and in kibbutzim Be'eri gathered because for a week there were still terrorists hiding.
Yes.
So he had rescued people that were in hiding, people that were about to be kidnapped. It's not that it ended on the 10th of October. For 2 weeks the army was still clearing the field.
Children can adapt themselves a little bit faster, and they did it in the compound that was built in Shiva Medical Center.
If you see the sign here, the state center in Summer people written there, welcome, Bochot HaShavot, everything here was sealed. And this was the site that the returning hostages from the first wave arrived here. The compound inside was equipped like in a top class hotel. Every site that the here hospital was removed.
If we need ER, our emergency department is fortified. We have a new operating room compared to our size, but when we are thinking about fortified places and sheltered, we are the largest.
When the war broke out, we closed on all 3 floors. We really didn't know.
Who else is worried about, wars and putting hospitals under the ground?
I know. People from Singapore came here to get idea. The Chinese people came here to get idea. I don't know why, but they just...
U.S. has nothing.
I don't think so.
We have some important roles, one being rebooting Israel's economy, rebooting Israel's high-tech. And I truly hope that new collaborations will come out. But your friendship, your support at these difficult times is really deeply, we're deeply moved by that. We have students that were killed in action. 12 of our extended Technion family, 12 of them were abducted. 9 are still in captivity. We don't know whether they are alive.
It's just all been, so powerful. And I, initially wanted to come on the trip because I wanted to help.
I'm also here just to show support, see what I can do to help, and to bring your message back.
So whatever you can help us with so we can help you.
People in the United States can volunteer, maybe even by telemedicine, to help.
Any support, anything that that we feel in here has been a lot to us.
It's very heartwarming that you are coming. You see that we are not allowed in our...
Your visit is extremely important for us.
We should stick together, and we will prevail.
We've come to Israel and have learned a lot and are amazed by the tenacity and the spirit of the country. Thank you, Gary, for that amazing film. So, just to summarize, we learned a lot on this mission. It was a great experience, and it really solidified, I think, the people that were there. We became like a lay version of like a commando team that now knew how to work together to get things done. Some of the things were very simple. For instance, you could see in these pictures here, at the Sheba Rehab Center, they wanted a PS5. I mean, it's a small gift, but it really made a big difference for these soldiers, and so we were able to come back and get that together and send it to them. Other projects are much longer term. We're working to build an entire network of professor-to-professor communication so that we can have students from Israel and professors from Israel come and be a part of academia in the United States, bypassing certain boycotts, official and unofficial, so that's still something we're working on. But that's the idea, is to really build strong bridges between the Jews in America and the Jews in Israel. So I'm going to now introduce Professor Kira Stein, and we're going to begin the next section, which is discussing the turmoil and the situation that was going on our campus here at UCLA.
Alyssa. The rise of anti-Jewish encampments on campuses just didn't happen overnight, out of the blue. They're the result of years of university leaders tolerating anti-Semitic indoctrination, teaching false, libelous narratives about Israel, Israelis, and American Jews who simply support Israel's existence. These narratives, which single out Israel for demonization while ignoring other nations, have seeped into classrooms and faculty meetings. Jewish faculty are now targets for simply visiting Israel, conducting research with Israel, or just standing up to anti-Semitism. UCLA has become especially hostile, where Jewish professors are being marginalized, petitioned against, silenced, and even disciplined.
When we've raised these concerns, the university's response has been chilling. Administrators will privately admit to worsening anti-Semitism, but refuse to confront it publicly, fearing backlash or bad PR. As Elie Wiesel said, quote, "Neutrality helps the oppressor, never the victim. Silence encourages the tormentor, never the tormented." The Jewish Faculty Resilience Group is relieved that the UC president has now condemned segregation, encampments, and masked demonstrators. But the roots of the anti-Semitic encampments, physical and emotional harassment of Jews on campus, remain. The administration's refusal to publicly condemn and discipline anti-Semitic lies and indoctrination is a problem. Sorry.
So in response, JFrog is not just documenting and reporting. We're taking action. We're launching Project Anti-Terror and Hate. It's called PATH, a forthcoming initiative that will serve as a playbook for countering the tactics used by hate groups on campus. We envision a training conference hosted at the Simon Wiesenthal Center where we'll build practical skills and teamwork to protect our community. But we need more than just a playbook and a plan to educate faculty and students to keep themselves safe. This is why JFrog's plan is to launch a rapid response team of experienced professionals dedicated to monitoring, nimbly responding to, and countering anti-Semitism on campus. UCLA will serve as the first model, and with our success, the hope is to expand this initiative across the greater Los Angeles area, spreading shareable resources and tactics, community organizers, safety experts, and PR and legal resources. Of course, none of these efforts can thrive without funding, collaboration, research, and creative solutions to raise awareness and build the case for change. This is where the work of our dedicated teams become critical. To delve deeper into the work we are already doing on the front lines, both in research and in storytelling. We're honored to introduce our incredible colleagues, UCLA anthropology professor and JFrg documentation and research chair, Molly Fox, and USC professor of cinematic arts and leader of JFrog's film team, Nancy Forner. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here. My name is Molly Fox from anthropology. I'm an associate professor at UCLA. Following October 7th, when the anti-Israel movement took over my department and UCLA campus more generally, I felt isolated and scared. And this changed after I found JFrog, a community of these passionate and talented people you've been meeting, who are not afraid to confront the anti-Semites on UCLA campus and beyond. I eventually became the co-chair of the Anti-Semitism Incident Reporting Committee. We call it the AIR Committee, leading a large group of dedicated volunteers, grad students, postdocs, professors at UCLA. And during this past year, we have accomplished a lot. We were collecting, preserving, and organizing documentation of the violence, harassment, and discrimination enacted by the anti-Israel protesters. The AIR Committee follows up on reports and meets with the victims, helps them to access the support resources they need, and creates summaries for campus offices, for lawyers, and even the US Congress to demand accountability and protection for Jews and Israelis at UCLA. All of this work has been fueled by our grief after October 7th and our desire to show the Jews on campus that they are not alone. However, this is not sustainable. Every member of the AIR Committee is exhausted. We've been squeezing in these efforts on top of our research and our teaching and our patient care. We need help and administrative resources to organize and preserve the data and create new pipelines for data collection to optimize utility. The AIR Committee needs to hire data managers, analysts, and support staff. Every day on the news, there are politicians and pundits talking about this problem of anti-Semitism on college campuses, but we've been left to deal with it on our own. I don't want to be a talking point. I want to restore the legacy of the great American universities as places that are safe and welcoming for Jews and Israelis to live and work and learn.
Hi, everybody. My name is Nancy Forner. I am not from UCLA. I am from USC, your rival. I teach in the film school, and I could have been at the Emmys tonight, but I'm here. It's far more important. Thank you. When the horrific massacre happened, and then the anti-Semitism, and of course, all the campus unrest at UCLA, we also had at USC, I was like heartbroken. And I was looking for support. I was looking for camaraderie. And I was looking for ways to take action. And sadly, unfortunately, at USC, there was nothing. I have a few friends here from USC, and they will agree with me, and we kind of found each other, but there wasn't a big group. And then I've heard of Kira Stein. Her name came, right? Her name came floating to me from various sources, and I heard of JFrog. And so I hounded Kira, and I hounded other people to hound Kira. I said, please take a USC professor, please, even though we're rivals. And thank God she did. Because what I have received from JFrog is camaraderie, support. I've gone to the Wednesday night support groups, and they've been tremendously helpful to me. But I also found a way, and so I'm so indebted to JFrog for existing and helping me and other people, many of you here, of course. But what also it's done is I'm a person of action, and I felt very at a loss how to take action. What do I do with all these feelings and everything? I mean, you can go to meetings, you can send letters, and I thought, I'm a filmmaker. And I said, Kira, let me make movies for you and for JFrog. And that is what I've been doing. And many of us are professors. What do professors do? We teach and we try to educate. And that's what my little movies that many of you have seen there, I hope, are trying to educate and teach people the truth of what happened at UCLA last spring. And we're expanding the truth of what is not being shown on the news. And so I am very grateful to JFrog for allowing me to take the talents that I have from my career in the film business and being able to make these movies and share them with anyone who will watch them. All right, thank you. Oh, wait, I want to say one thing. Wait, here, come on up. I want to thank the Evidence Committee, because without a lot of their research and the footage that they have supplied me, I couldn't make a lot of these movies. And so thank you, Molly, and your team for helping me out with all this.
So one of the things you may have heard in the news is that the encampment was peaceful, that it was a peaceful protest, that it's part of our rights protected under the Constitution, and that anybody that suggests otherwise is trying to take away your freedoms. So here's Nancy's film documenting what really happened in the encampment.
Three Jewish students who sued UCLA over pro-Palestinian protest on campus get a win in court. The students sued, claiming what they described as anti-Semitic activists set up an encampment that prevented them from attending classes.
As you know, UCLA and the UC Regents have been heavily criticized for how they handled the whole pro-Palestinian encampment. Now, this federal lawsuit alleges that the protests were anti-Semitic and that the UC Regents and UCLA knew for a week that protesters had erected barriers, issued wristbands, and in some instances locked arms to keep Jewish students and faculty from getting through, adding they were essentially barred from the heart of campus.
So thank you. I'm a student.
We're going this way. You guys have closed the entrance. We are UCLA students. I have my ID right here. I'm being blocked off, not by the security guard, but by you two. You three. Oh, look, they're making their burger while I'm going this way. Excuse me. This is what they do. Everybody, look at this. Look at this. I'm a UCLA student. I deserve to go here. We pay tuition. This is our school. And they're not letting me walk in. My class is over there. I want to use that entrance.
Chancellor Block, were those students who formed the blockade, do you know?
I don't know whether they're students or
You don't know?
Do not know.
Have any of them been disciplined?
After we learned about that, I sent a message to all of our student affairs people to make sure the pathways are open for everyone. And I sent a message out to our community.
So I'm going to take that as a no. We have the evidence right here on video. A student being blocked from entering your campus based on his Jewish identity, and there's been no consequence whatsoever. Is that what you're telling us?
Yeah, I'm trying to go to class, man.
You have to go around.
Why do I need a wristband?
Time to go.
I can stand here if I want. Yeah, of course I'm Zionist.
Someone like him, a Zionist, will not be allowed on the Palestinian side. We don't accept Zionists.
Bro, get out of here. You're not allowed to do that.
Milagro Jones was trying to walk through the encampment at the UCLA campus when he was surrounded by protesters.
They wasn't letting me move, period. They had me completely surrounded. They're saying some weird stuff. They were saying I was an Israeli agitator. I don't even know what that is, bro. At the end of the day, they're not supposed to be here. That's my number one point. My second point is I'm a student, so I can walk around wherever I want.
If we're both students here, then both of us have a right to be here and not like be treated like this. I have a right to be here. Please stop bumping it. No, I'm not. I'm trying. You guys are surrounding me, and I'm trying to escape. Please stop surrounding me. I want to go this way.
Violating the U.S. Constitution by preventing a member of the media and really a member of the public from walking across a public campus. This is peaceful protest. Not a peaceful protest. This is violence. You're using physical threats. This is violence.
Campus security is aiding them. There is a sort of bike rack barrier directly in front of the wall, and then about 5 feet in front of that barrier, there's another barrier, and campus security walk in between it to protect the encampment.
So the president of the University of California system just released an email this morning stating that, like we knew, setting up encampments are not allowed, and wearing a mask to conceal your identity is also not allowed, and restricting student access through certain parts of campus simply not allowed.
So last spring, the explosion of anti-Semitism under the guise of anti-Zionism was never more apparent than during the encampments. To give you a sense of what it was like on campus for faculty and students, I'm pleased to introduce writer-director Joyce Gittin Weintraub's dramatic reading based on quotes from JFrog's Anti-Semitic Incident Report Air, performed by actors from the community and student actors as well. Please welcome them.
Hine, Matov, Uma, Naim, Shevet Achim, Gam Yachad.
As I walk to class, I hear the ominous chants. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. I'm handed flyers from my student union for SJP rallies on my campus. These flyers picture masked men throwing rocks with images of assault rifles in the background.
I love studying at the Powell Library, Kirchhoff Cafe, and Central Lawn. But after hearing violent chants demanding the eradication of Jews from Israel, after seeing signs at Bruin Plaza that said Israel is the only state that makes Jews turn into Nazis, I stopped going to those areas.
I stopped going to those areas.
I stopped going to those areas. When I was little, the second intifada began in Israel. Now, as an adult, watching hundreds of UCLA students call for globalized intifada leaves me feeling unsafe and broken. It resurfaces the trauma of the sites of the second intifada. It is a clear call for violence against civilians.
A fellow Israeli told me that he was physically shoved by a UCLA faculty member when he held a sign calling for the release of the Israeli hostages. I no longer speak about my Israeli citizenship for fear of being targeted. When I talk to classmates, I never reveal that I'm Israeli. Was the guy sitting next to me in the lecture hall among the massed crowd cheering for the murder of Jews in Israel? Does he want to kill my parents and siblings? I feel deeply unsafe.
I am all for casual fits and comfy Bruin gear, but pigment-dyed hoodies with stuff like Israelis are native to hell? We want to burn Tel Aviv and all Zionists are racist? Now that's a seriously messed up fashion choice.
Words matter. Near the entrance to the encampment is a Star of David on the ground with the words, "Stand here, Israel is the devil."
And what of my fellow faculty defending the peaceful protesters and locking arms to prevent self-identified Jewish students and faculty from walking to class? UCLA feels toxic. Anti-Semitic hate is normalized. Jews are heartbroken, tired, isolated, and struggling as a community. Those in charge defend threatening behavior in the name of academic freedom and justified resistance.
I'm the grandchild of survivors. Swastikas on campus buildings are shocking. No, devastating. In the parking lot, I see a dozen young men, keffiyehs wrapped around their heads and faces, sunglasses on, fully draped in Palestinian flags so that no part of their body and faces are visible. They chant, "Fuck the Jews, fuck the Jews."
I've been part of the UCLA community for 25 years, first as an undergraduate transfer student, and then as a master's and PhD student before settling into a staff and faculty job that was the best in the world. Until now, I am a Jew, an Israeli, and a Zionist. Because of these identities, I've been dehumanized.
How I or others feel about Israeli government doesn't matter. There's an attitude on campus encouraged by an alarming number of faculty who use demeaning symbols like swastikas, upside-down triangles, and paraglider emojis. Many of my Jewish colleagues are keeping their heads down and their mouths shut.
There's a constitutional right to freedom of religion, but if you wear a Star of David on campus, you will be singled out and harassed or assaulted. Some of the sympathizers are dressed like security people, but assault Jews if we come in contact with them. When I walked near the encampment lawn, I was told that I had to leave as it was a private space. I held my ground. Their self-appointed security surrounded me, pushing and pulling, while actual campus security watched.
One of my friends was assaulted with a man with a large walking stick, and the police watched and refused to take down our statements, leaving us with no paper trail, no proof that it ever happened. Campus security just kept repeating that they were instructed to stand down.
I was standing across the pond in a counter-protest when 30 adult men with face coverings breached their self-designated encampment walls and pushed me to the ground. The men came on top of me as I fell onto my back. I frantically kicked them off.
She frantically kicked them off.
The campus police did nothing.
They stood there and watched.
Campus security repeatedly stated that they were instructed to stand down. Call and response. The voiced invitation to join in chants, prayer, and protest.
Hine,
Matov, Uma, Naim. From the river to the sea, fuck the Jews, we will be free.
Shevet Achim, Gam Yachad.
Wow, thank you. Thank you for amplifying our students' faculty's voices. They had the courage to report, but not necessarily the courage to come up here and share that experience. So thank you very much. It has really been wonderful to see many of our students, staff, and faculty stepping up. I'm grateful to them. I know members of our community are as well. Being proud of their Jewish identity and how Israel is undeniably part of that identity. And now I'd like to introduce UCLA undergraduate student Eli Tzivas. Hope I said that right. Sorry, Eli. To share his own personal experience with you. And thank you again, Eli, for that beautiful reading.
So I first want to start off by giving a shout out to my mom and dad who are here in the audience. So if they can stand up, please. My mother asked for a shout out, so I'm giving her the most serious one she could ask for. No, stand up. You asked for a shout out. There we go. Now, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here today. Take it. I mean, this is important. Put it on speaker. We should all hear. Now, it's in moments like this when I look out and I see a community united by one common cause, that I am reminded of our purpose to stand here in the fight against anti-Semitism. And while I know you've all heard this before, I'm going to say it again, and not just for us, but for the haters that will later hear this when I post this speech on social media. The Jewish people always persevere, and we will always win. Now, truthfully, I'm not going to stand here and tell you my story because, frankly, my story isn't unique. I'm not the only Jewish student who was barred from entering parts of campus during the encampment. This happened across the country. And what was most shocking, the silence from the university administrators. When Jewish students needed support, when we needed leadership, many deans, presidents, and chancellors stayed silent. Now, as a result, countless Jewish students lost faith in their institutions. Even worse, many began to hide their Jewish identity out of fear of academic discrimination, harassment, or even assault. But in times of hardship, the courageous rise. The ones who walk through the flames of anti-Israel protests with their Magen David necklaces proudly displayed. The ones who stand in the middle of class and call their teachers out on their anti-Semitic remarks. And the ones that support each other when it seems like putting your head in the sand is the easy way out. These brave students, many of whom are here today in the audience tonight, remind us that true strength is that when the world punches you in the face, you look back and smile. Now, guys, our courage sends a message to all that no amount of intimidation can erase our heritage, silence our voices, or break our spirits. Because of our resilience, we pave the way for a future where no Jewish student will ever again feel the need to hide their Jewish identity. Now, to the faculty and staff, I turn to you. Now, I could stand here and express my gratitude for your hard work, but you already know that you have my deepest gratitude. Instead, I offer you this. Please, please, be louder. We know that you work tirelessly behind the scenes, but we need more. We need to see you, to feel your presence. So join us at Israel rallies, come to the Shabbat table at Chabad, or come to our Hillel events. Your support matters, and we thank you for it, truly. Thank you. And finally, to the students, let me leave you with this. We don't speak up because we want to. We speak up because we have to. Never forget that our generation is the one that will make a real change in this world, not our parents' generation, and certainly not our grandparents' generation. So be informed. Stay aware of what's happening. When you graduate and land a comfortable job, whether it's in investment banking or software engineering or anywhere else, don't think that ignoring the world's problems is the answer. Because I can promise you this, those who seek to harm us, they may not have the facts or the arguments on their side, but they sure know how to make noise and they know how to vote. So now, I'm not asking you all to run for politics. I'll take that burden off your shoulders. But I am asking you to be the voice in our community. And if you feel like no one can hear you, get a megaphone. There's always a way to amplify your message. Thank you.
So that was wonderful, obviously. I mean, Eli, thank you. Thank you so much. So without further ado, I introduce you to UCLA Law School student and UCLA Law suit plaintiff, JFrg, to share his story.
Hello, hello. Thank you to everyone. Thank you to JFrg. As you saw in the beautiful video, this past April, we all saw the barricades, the encampments, the checkpoints, and I know we were all horrified. And admittedly, I was only half horrified. The other half of me found it childishly hilarious. I've got 4 kids. My oldest is 6. I'm in law school. It's hard. That's why I'm not sleeping well. And it just reminded me of when they create tent forts and they block me off and only dolls can get in. And it was hilarious to me, but also troubling. And I felt that the deeper issue was that the UCLA administration failed us, all of us. They were indifferent. Worse, they aided and abetted blatant anti-Semitic segregation and several instances of violence from the encampment didn't bother them when it should have revolted them. The most prolific commandment in the Torah is al tira, do not fear. I want to check with Rabbi Noble, is that correct? I think so. Fun fact, Rabbi Noble and I both have 6-year-old daughters that are named Shifra, so you've been doing a great job, so you can have mine. Is that how it works? Al tira, do not fear. So we have to fight, and that's why we're all here. Now, I don't think the IDF wants me. I've got 2 bad knees. But where we can fight, and what JFrg has been doing, is what my friend Shabbos Kestenbaum, he's suing Harvard for their blatant anti-Semitism. He says, we can be fighting in the battlefront of ideas. Everyone in your own capacity, with your own talents, can and should and must contribute to that battlefront. As a law student, unsurprisingly, I've chosen to fight in the courts. With the help of the most brilliant attorneys at two law firms, the Beckett Fund for Religious Liberties and Clement and Murphy, I filed a lawsuit in early June alongside two other UCLA students against UCLA to stop the university from betting such bigotry again. Thankfully, on August 13th, a federal judge blocked UCLA from allowing and assisting anti-Semitism on campus, calling UCLA's actions, and I quote, unimaginable and abhorrent. A day later, the university announced it would appeal the ruling to the Ninth Circuit, saying, and I kid you not, protecting Jewish students would hamstring its ability to manage its campus. This decision was rightfully met with widespread and bipartisan scorn. And barely a week later, UCLA threw in the towel, publicly asking the Ninth Circuit to drop the appeal and to dismiss it. Yet, even when they dropped the appeal and their statement said that they will not tolerate anti-Semitism, they couldn't stop there. They had to add an Islamophobia or any form of discrimination or harassment. Heaven forbid they denounce anti-Semitism alone, solely, without lumping us together. Obviously, no mention of Zionism. To them, it's all just one word. Anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, or any form of discrimination or harassment. We've heard it so many times. It's all one word. I'll end with this. My grandfather had my father when he was on the way to America at the age of 50. His first wife and 3 children were murdered by the Nazis, along with dozens of cousins and relatives. He fought back by rebuilding. In honor of his memory, I'd like to share a message of continuity present in Parshas Bo, where God states, and that you may recount in the ears of your child and your child's child how I made a mockery of the Egyptians and how I displayed my signs among them, in order that you may know that I am Hashem. What is so important about this message to make a mockery of our enemies? It's because this is a message needed to be spoken so loudly that not only our children hear it, but their children too. When we look on our enemies, spiritual or physical, we will laugh in their face. They tried to wipe us out and they failed. Ancient Egyptians, gone. Philistines, gone. Assyrians, gone. Babylonians, gone. Ancient Greeks, gone. Romans, gone. Byzantines, gone. Crusaders, gone. Nazis, gone. Hamas, work in progress. It's been 345 days since more than 1,200 of our fellow Jews were slaughtered. 101 of our fellow Jews are still in captivity. 343 soldiers have died since then, cleansing the earth of Hamas. How do we know the IDF will succeed? How do we know that we will succeed? Because over 80 years after my grandfather escaped Auschwitz, I had the privilege 8 months ago to name my son, his great-grandson after him. I want to thank JFrg for showing all of us that Jewish students are not alone. Thank you.
My universe is the School of Medicine. This is where I live, if you will. I teach there, I work there, and I couldn't believe that it would be humanly possible for this institution to be seeped in with anti-Semitism. But unfortunately, that's how it's become. It's hard to read this chart, but The message here is that UCLA has something called the JEDI, Justice, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. It is steeped in the medical school's culture, and their stated goal, a righteous goal, is to eradicate racism and make sure that minorities have an equal chance at getting into medical school. It's a noble goal, and we support it. However, even though they've succeeded dramatically at increasing the underrepresented minorities in the last several years, one underrepresented minority that has not been present anymore at UCLA's medical school are the Jews. Why is that? Why are the Jews at such a low number? Now, if you ask the medical school, how many Jews are in each class, they'll tell you, well, we don't know because we don't collect that demographic. But we know that the numbers are very low. We have a crisis. We have a crisis where the Jews are disappearing or almost disappeared. We're almost an extinct species as far as the students are concerned. Because anti-Semitism is baked into the curriculum that they're teaching the first-year students. There's a class called SRHE, the Systemic Racism and Health Equity course. That picture is a slide from the course. This is a slide from the course where they teach students that Jews are white. This is also a slide from the course where the students are taught that whites in the wheel of oppression, the wheel of power, we're the oppressors. So, unfortunately, the Jews get represented as white oppressors. And that's probably why there's very few Jews left in the medical school. This is a slide from the course as well. Those oppressive-looking men are, well, they're white. They're labeled as lawyer, accountant. They have very long noses that are hooked over the chart. This is in the curriculum. This is what their students are learning. This letter was sent out by a very, very brave student who will speak to you very shortly, Eliana Jalkovsky. This was a letter written October of 2022, where signed by numerous chairs. It was written to the dean of the school, specifically highlighting the SRHE anti-Semitic curriculum, the fact that they tried to start an anti-Semitism club and it was denied, but the yoga club, the surf club, and the dance club were allowed. They formed the Jewish Medical Student Association, but this association was barred from speaking at the Uldavi Memorial event, even though every other organization was allowed to speak. In the medical school, they had a mandatory cultural sensitivity course on Yom Kippur. And there were posters with swastikas that were posted outside the school that stayed there for days as people were complaining that they should be taken down. Then on October 7th, everything got supercharged. One of the students of the school made a comment in the student WhatsApp group. It's an official group, though, for the school. He wrote, on October 7th, "I truly did not expect to see so many peers out here mourning the overseers' families and condemning the slave rebellion for using violence." In that same chat group, other students were asking the class to join in anti-Israel, pro-Palestinian events. This was the official UCLA school chat group.
My name is Vivian Burt. I am a professor in the Department of Psychiatry. Thank you all for being here. Thank you to the speakers. It's no secret that anti-Semitism has flourished well before October 7th, and since that awful day, it has exploded exponentially. Those of us on the faculty at UCLA, and in my case in the medical school, have personally experienced the plague of anti-Semitism. I and my husband, sitting right there, attended the encampment. We were barred from entrance. We stood there for 2 hours, begging for an opportunity to dialogue. We were barred. I attended that psychiatric lecture called Depathologizing Resistance, which justified suicide by burning oneself as a protest against so-called colonization of Israel, which was called occupied Palestine. The word Israel wasn't mentioned. That lecture violated a UC resolution forbidding partisan interests and political indoctrination in classrooms. It was blatant anti-Semitism. It was attended by residents. It was attended by faculty leaders in my department. Those of us who spoke out against this and the other lectures and other egregious activities that were anti-Semitic, those of us that spoke out in a medical school faculty meeting, were vilified, mocked, labeled as racists by students who shouldn't have been there, but who infiltrated the meeting, many of whom refused to identify themselves, and even by members of my own faculty at a meeting of the faculty. I now speak to you about what is even more troubling. You see, faculty leaders in the medical school fail to hold residents and students and participating faculty accountable for these actions. Rather, faculty have been silent and thus made it possible for those who perpetrate and endorse anti-Semitism. Yes, those who are outright anti-Semites or anti-Zionists, which by the way is code for anti-Semites, are certainly guilty of spreading hate. But those faculty who remain silent are complicit in spreading anti-Semitism. Think about it, my friends. Faculty in the medical school and even university leaders at the highest levels have turned a blind eye to what is going on and are therefore, sad to say, anti-Semitic enablers. This isn't new. Look at history over thousands of years. Look at recent history. 80 years ago, silence like this spawned the Holocaust. Think of October 8th, 2023, the day after a veritable pogrom, well before a single Gazan life was taken. We've heard it tonight. Need we more proof that anti-Semitism is alive and well throughout the world and right here at home? Educational institutions should treat anti-Semitism like any other form of prejudice. I have had 40 years of leadership experience at UCLA. I know injustice when I see it. I know anti-Semitism when it is directed against me and my people. In the name of those who lost everything in the years leading up to my existence, I speak up now, and I won't stop speaking. Let me end by saying that the UCLA Jewish Faculty Resilience Group, an apolitical, grassroots organization that started organically with a handful of traumatized, distraught faculty following the tragedy of October 7th, has grown into at least 300, and I think it's more than 300. We are strong. We are resilient. We are determined. As physicians and teachers at UCLA, we pledge to speak up and not let injustice stand. Thank you, Jewish Faculty Resilience Group. Because of you and your leadership, we go into the year 5785, proud, resilient, and strong. Thank you, and join us, please, all of you.
I'm just going to ask everyone to hang in there. I know it's lasting a lot longer than we thought because people have so much to share and so much, but we have a few more things to say and then we'll wrap it up, okay? Just hang in there. By being here today, you're sending a powerful message, and that message is that you care and you're ready to be a force for meaningful change. Thank you for standing with us because this moment matters. Before we go further, I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to the organizer of today's event, Nir Hoffman. And all the volunteers and the JFrg Programming Committee. Nir, your unwavering commitment to this mission and your deep love for Israel and the Jewish people shine through every action you take. And you've connected us with your amazing home at Stephen Weiss Temple. And now, Rabbi Yoshi Zweibach and Rabbi Joshua Noble, we are truly honored to present you and the entire Wise congregation with a certificate of appreciation. Your generosity in supporting our Jewish Faculty Resilience Group and welcoming congregations from across denominations shows the strength of community and the power of unity. This is exactly what gives us hope, all of us here together in these challenging times. So thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Now, this is going to be really short, okay? Let's talk about why we're here and why this moment is so critical. The Jewish Faculty Resilience Group, JFrg, is not just another organization. We're different. We meet a unique need. While national Jewish organizations are doing vital work, they aren't on the front lines like we are. We're faculty and staff. We're on the ground, living the daily realities of campus anti-Semitism. We're not observing from the sidelines. We're in the trenches. We're in the trenches. And here's what makes JFrg indispensable. We represent those who are often overlooked, whose very livelihoods are at risk. Faculty and staff are the heart of any university. They shape the culture. They dedicate decades to ensuring a bright future for their students. When we stand by Jewish faculty, we are ensuring, when you stand by Jewish faculty, you are ensuring that Jewish students can learn in an environment where their mentors feel empowered to speak out, to defend their rights, and to protect them. Before I go any further, I want you to take a moment, look around, and truly see the faces of those who stand on the front lines with us. I'm going to ask JFrog members, faculty, staff, and volunteers, and students. the very heartbeat of the community to stand up. Please stand up. Show everybody who we're talking about. And there's at least 300 more. These are the ones plus hundreds more who need our support, who give their all every day. The JFrg family. Stand tall and proud, everyone, because you are all the pillars of this movement. But here's the tough reality. We are being stretched to the limit. We are fighting an avalanche with a shovel. And this is where you come in. I invite you to take out today's program or one of the JFrg business cards you received, and if you didn't pick one up, please. And there you're going to find QR codes. And they're behind me as well. These codes are not just symbols, they're pathways to action. Right now we're moving mountains with what we have. We're relying mostly on small, heartfelt contributions. These donations are deeply needed and appreciated, but so far they're not enough to sustain the level of growth and impact we need. We need more. Our faculty and staff have gone above and beyond, working late nights, sacrificing time with their families, lots of time from their families, and putting their careers on the line to stand up for what's right. We cannot keep asking them to bear this burden alone. It's simply not sustainable. We urgently need your help to build the infrastructure that will allow us to keep fighting anti-Semitism and to win. We need to hire professional experts and staff to take this work to the next level. Without that, our mission will be stalled, and we simply cannot afford that, not when well-funded anti-Semitic and anti-Zionist groups grow bolder every day, spreading lies, division, and hate. We can turn the tide, though. We can turn the tide, but we need you, whether through donating, volunteering, or advocating on our behalf. Your support is the oxygen that keeps this movement alive. JFrog's mission is clear. We are here to identify and counter anti-Semitism, support faculty and staff and students, and stand tall for Zionism and proud for Zionism. So please, right now, take your program or business card, scan the QR code, and contribute whatever you feel moved to give. Every donation counts. Every bit of support strengthens our fight. Your generosity isn't just helping the faculty and staff, it's protecting the very students we care for. The time to act is now. It's time to make an impact. With your help, our voices will be heard louder and clearer. This is for our faculty, for our students, for our future in American higher education. Join us now in our fight against the scourge of anti-Semitism. Join us, and thank you. One thing I wanted to let, I know Nina and anyone else with comments or questions, we need to let the temple close. But we're going to keep here talking in the library, so we can meet in the lobby. We can talk in the lobby for a bit more. Okay, but if we need to schedule another meeting, we can do that. Okay, so I just want to let you know time is running out, and it's been a long evening. Please support us. We need you. We can't do this alone.
Israel's right to self-determination. I was stopped at UCLA. Faculty members stood in my way, blocked me from walking and pushed me. Look, G, all the grad students had masks on their face. Free Palestine for Hamas. Bring the hostages home safely at any cost. They kidnap babies, is breaking my heart. I'm a proud Zionist, I'm a safe from the heart. Free Palestine for Hamas. Bring the hostages home safely at any cost. They kidnap babies, is breaking my heart. I'm a proud Zionist, I'm a safe from the heart. To smile more, girl, you know I like it when you laugh like a child loud. Let that sound grow deep inside.